conjoined twins, they spent their lives in a small, close-knit community, completely protected from prying eyes. In 1990, conjoined twins Abby and Brittany Hensel were born sharing one body. For decades, millions watched them on TV. From Oprah to their own reality show, they became teachers. They drove cars. They lived normal lives. Then, in 2024, the internet exploded. Secret wedding photos surfaced. A mysterious TikTok hinted at something bigger. Suddenly, everyone had the same question. What really happened to the twins? The truth is more surprising than anyone imagined. Abby and Brittany Hensel were born on March 7, 1990 in Carver County, Minnesota. But this was no ordinary birth. At 12:17 a.m., the delivery room went silent. The newborns were Dailic-Paraphagus twins, two heads sharing one body. Together, they weighed 11.5 pounds. Their parents were shocked. No one had expected this. This rare condition only happens once in every 200,000 births. Doctors from around the country rushed in to see them. They wanted to understand how this was even possible. Just 2 days later, surgeons performed a major operation. There was a small third arm growing between their necks. It had to be removed. The surgery lasted 6 long hours, but the girls pulled through. It was the first big step in what would become an extraordinary life. Their body worked in a way that amazed even the smartest doctors. Abby had control over the right side, Brittany over the left. Each had her own heart and lungs, but their organs still had to cooperate. Their hearts beat at different rhythms, yet they pushed blood through the same body. They had 2 stomachs, but only one digestive system after that. If one of them ate something bad, both felt it. Even their breathing had to sync up or things could go wrong. In their first year, even basic things were tough. Feeding was a daily puzzle. They had to swallow at the same time or it wouldn't work. Their mom, Patty, invented a bottle with 2 nipples so both could drink at once. It took days of trial and error, but it worked. Sleeping wasn't easy either. One twin might be ready to sleep, the other wide awake, so their parents and grandparents took turns staying up through the night. It was exhausting, but they never gave up. Then came a moment that changed everything. When they were 8 months old, Abby and Brittany crawled together. It took weeks of effort and a lot of crying, but they did it. The whole family cheered. They had cake and ice cream. It felt like winning a gold medal. But behind the joy, their parents had to make a heartbreaking decision. Should they try to separate the twins? The doctors said the chances were slim. One or both might not survive. And even if they did, one could end up with major disabilities. After thinking about it for weeks, their parents said no. They believed Abby and Brittany were stronger together. Not everyone agreed, but the family stood firm. They started therapy early, helping the girls learn how to live life as one, yet also as 2 individuals. The world first saw Abby and Brittany on TV on October 8, 1996. They were 6 years old when they went on the Oprah Winfrey Show. Viewers were stunned. These girls weren't just surviving, they were thriving. They talked about eating, sleeping, even arguing. And how did they settle fights with a coin toss? That calm, honest attitude made people admire them. More shows followed. In 2012, they even starred in their own series on TLC. But fame never changed them. They stayed private and humble. Through all this, one thing stayed true. Their parents never treated them like a medical mystery. Patty and Mike Hensel raised them as 2 girls with one incredible body. They gave them freedom, support, and a strong sense of identity. And because of that, Abby and Brittany never saw themselves as strange or broken. Abby and Brittany Hensel grew up in a small town in Minnesota. From the outside, they looked like any other kids heading off to school each morning. But inside every classroom, they amazed teachers and classmates with how well they worked together. Abby controlled the right arm and leg. Brittany controlled the left, and somehow they moved like one. They could even write at the same time. 2 pencils, 2 hands, 1 sentence. That alone made people stop and stare. Even in the early years, they were already splitting up the work. Abby had a sharp brain for numbers and science. Brittany loved words, history, and stories. So they helped each other. One solving equations, the other writing essays. It was never about who did more. They just did everything as a team. But school wasn't only about books. Gym class brought real challenges. Most kids ran, jumped, and played without thinking. Abby and Brittany had to think about every step. In volleyball, Abby would cover one side of their body. Brittany handled the other. It took coordination, timing, and endless practice. And yet they played. They competed. They kept showing up, never asking for a different rule or an easier version. In 2008, they reached a huge milestone, graduation from Mayer Lutheran High School. But this wasn't just walking across a stage. They had made the honor roll. They were involved in activities. They gave speeches. They earned respect. One of their biggest achievements that year was something many 16-year-olds dream about: getting a driver's license. Except they had to take the test twice. Abby controlled the pedals and the radio. Brittany managed the turn signals and the lights. Together, they learned how to steer. During the test, each of them was evaluated separately. That meant 2 test scores, 2 licenses, 1 car. They passed, not because someone made an exception, but because they earned it. It was one of the clearest examples of their teamwork under pressure. Their graduation speech moved the entire crowd. They talked about sticking together, not giving up, and how school helped shape who they were. The story quickly spread beyond Minnesota. News outlets picked it up. People across the country started following their journey. After high school, Abby and Brittany enrolled at Bethel University, also in Minnesota. They decided to study education. At first, they considered choosing different focus areas, but the workload made it too complicated. So, they chose one path together. It wasn't a step back. It was a smart decision. They always knew how to adjust when things got difficult. In university lectures, one of them would take notes, while the other paid close attention to what the professor was saying. Then they'd switch roles. In group projects, they sometimes brought 2 different perspectives to the same topic, which made class discussions more lively. Making friends wasn't easy at first. Most people had never met someone like them. But their positive energy and humor broke the ice. Eventually, they became well known on campus. They even joined the volleyball team and contributed in their own unique way. In 2012, they graduated from Bethel University with degrees in education. The moment they stepped onto the stage, the crowd erupted in applause again. The university gave them each a diploma. They had shared one body, one set of classes, and one journey, but they received 2 degrees. Their tuition was handled with a thoughtful Tufferone system, a gesture that recognized both their shared situation and their individual work. Abby and Brittany Hensel were born into one body, but they were never the same person. From the beginning, it was clear they were 2 minds, 2 voices, 2 lives. Abby is bold, confident, and loves numbers. She says what she thinks and dives into problems head first. Brittany is calm, quiet, and thoughtful. She's the writer, the one who pauses and reflects before acting. Even their clothes tell you who they are. Abby likes loud colors and patterns. Brittany keeps it simple with soft tones, so they get outfits with 2 necklines, one to match each of them. Their bodies are one, but their reactions aren't. Brittany's heart races when she drinks caffeine. Abby doesn't feel a thing. When they're walking or doing anything physical, one might get tired before the other, but they don't argue. If they disagree, they flip a coin. If one wants to go left and the other right, they take turns. They've mastered the art of balance. That balance helped them do something big. In 2012, they became fifth-grade teachers. The world watched as two conjoined twins walked into a classroom in Minnesota and started their careers. They had just graduated from Bethel University with degrees in education. They were ready, but the school district wasn't sure how to hire one body with two brains. The principal had to call human resources for help. In the end, they were given two separate contracts because they were two separate professionals. Still, they were paid only one salary. That didn't seem fair, especially since they both had teaching licenses. But Abby and Brittany didn't complain. They cared more about the kids than the pay, and they proved everyone wrong. Within a year, they were some of the most loved teachers at Sunnyside Elementary, teaching as conjoined twins took work. Abby controls the right side of the body. Brittany handles the left. Every step, every gesture, every chalkboard sentence had to be done in perfect sync. In class, they take turns speaking. One leads the lesson while the other helps students who are stuck or falling behind. The result? Kids feel seen. They feel supported. That's become one of the twins' greatest strengths. But not every day was easy. In their first year, one student asked them, "Can you even teach like this?" It could have been a hurtful moment. Instead, they turned it into a powerful lesson about differences and respect. That moment stayed with their students. In 2015, they rolled out a new classroom point system to reward good behavior. It worked so well that the entire school took notice. By 2017, students were saying things like, "It's like having two teachers in one. It's awesome." Their impact didn't stop in the classroom. In 2018, a student survey revealed something amazing. Most kids said they felt more open talking about disabilities because of Abby and Brittany. In 2020, they took their message national. They spoke at a major education conference, and thousands of teachers listened. Their ideas on how to build an inclusive classroom spread across schools all over the country. Their coworkers have always admired them. One principal said the twins brought fresh energy to the entire school. Kids used to say math was boring. Not anymore. Abby and Brittany made it exciting. Abby and Brittany Hensel have a way of working together that feels almost unreal. In one classroom, Abby might be explaining a math problem while Brittany writes on the board. And seconds later, they switch. During a lesson filmed for a documentary in 2023, they switched roles 37 times without missing a beat. And in 2024, they pulled off a science experiment that needed split-second timing and perfect coordination. The audience watching them couldn't believe how smoothly they worked as one. But this kind of teamwork didn't start yesterday. Abby and Brittany first caught the world's attention when they were just 6 years old, appearing on The Oprah Winfrey Show. Years later, at 22, they returned to the spotlight with their own reality series, Abby and Brittany, which aired on TLC starting August 28, 2012. The timing was perfect. They had just graduated from Bethel University in Minnesota, and the show followed their first steps into adult life. The series ran for 8 episodes and gave people an inside look at their world. They are conjoined twins who share one body but have two heads. Abby controls the right side, Brittany the left. So even the simplest tasks like riding a bike or driving a car take serious cooperation. But they made it look easy. Whether they were tossing a volleyball, shopping with friends, or just joking around, They showed how natural teamwork can be when you've spent your whole life doing it. They didn't just stay local either. The show followed them across the globe. In London, they practiced British accents and enjoyed high tea. In Italy, they rode a gondola in Venice and tossed coins into the Trevi Fountain in Rome. These moments weren't just for fun. They showed how curious and fearless the twins are when it comes to exploring the world. The final episode focused on a big next step. They were preparing to start teaching, not just helping out in a classroom, actually becoming licensed fifth-grade math teachers. It was a big leap, but one they were ready for. Later, it was confirmed they got the job and started teaching in Minnesota. The public couldn't stop watching. Viewers were amazed by how they handled things like driving, where each twin had to pass a separate test. People also wondered about deeper questions like relationships, marriage, and whether they wanted to have children. But Abby and Brittany kept those topics private. That mystery made fans even more interested. After the final episode aired on October 2, 2012, the twins chose a quieter life. They focused on their careers and stayed mostly out of the spotlight. On November 13, 2021, something quietly historic happened in Minnesota. Abby Hensel, one half of the famous conjoined twins, got married. The ceremony was private, just close friends and family. Her sister Brittany, who shares the same body with Abby, stood proudly by her side as maid of honor. Josh Bowling, a 33-year-old nurse and Army veteran, wore a gray suit. His 6-year-old daughter, Isabella, walked down the aisle as the flower girl. Abby and Brittany wore a custom-made dress that fit their unique form. Abby read the vows, speaking from both her heart and Brittany's. The room was filled with love. It wasn't just a wedding. It was a powerful symbol of strength, unity, and choice. But for almost 3 years, no one outside their circle knew. The marriage stayed a secret until March 2024, when public records revealed it to the world. The news shocked many, not because of scandal, but because it raised questions no one had ever imagined needing to ask. How does a marriage like this work? What does day-to-day life look like? Suddenly, the world wanted to know everything. Josh's past added to the intrigue. He had been married before. In 2023, his ex-wife filed for divorce and also filed a paternity suit. The headlines exploded. People weren't just curious anymore. They were digging. Still, through the noise, Abby and Josh stayed solid. They didn't run from the spotlight. Instead, they opened a small window into their life. On their joint Facebook page, wedding photos showed a smiling, relaxed couple surrounded by loved ones. Abby glowed. Josh looked at peace. Even Brittany, always in the picture, looked content. It wasn't just about romance. It was about teamwork. Their life together had already begun long before the world caught on. Becoming a family wasn't simple. It never could be, but they made it work. Abby took on the role of stepmother to Isabella, who was just a little girl when they married. Brittany wasn't on the sidelines. She helped too. Together, they shaped a home full of care, patience, and routine. They cooked together, played games, helped Isabella with school, and took her on trips. It wasn't a traditional setup, but nothing about their lives had ever been traditional. And yet, it worked. Everyday life for them is a balance act, literally and emotionally. Abby and Brittany still teach 5th grade math in New Brighton, Minnesota. Josh works as a nurse in hospice care, helping veterans during their final days. Their home has been adapted so that everyone feels comfortable. Space, privacy, and boundaries all matter. But what keeps things moving is how well they communicate. They make time for small joys, family dinners, community fairs, and quiet nights at home. They even schedule date nights. When the media frenzy hit in March 2024, Abby and Brittany didn't hold a press conference. Instead, they posted a simple message on TikTok. "The internet is extra loud today, and we have always been around." That one sentence said it all. Then came the video that truly blew up. Posted on April 15, 2024. It featured the twins doing a dance challenge. Their coordination amazed people. It got 15 million views. Their post showed everything. Funny dance clips, quiet family moments, even their thoughts about life. On May 1, 2024, they brought their old Instagram back to life. Their first post was a childhood photo with the caption, "New beginnings, old memories." It got 500,000 likes in just 1 hour. They were back and people were clearly still very interested. For days later on May 5th, they gave everyone something more personal. They shared photos from Abby and Josh's wedding. The dress was one of a kind. Lace-flowing fabric designed to fit both sisters perfectly. Brittany stood beside Abby as her bridesmaid. A video of the outdoor ceremony played with a Taylor Swift song in the background. Their first dance was to a remix of Adele's Rolling in the Deep. It wasn't just romantic, it was powerful. Fans loved seeing this side of them. In September 2024, the trio posted a family selfie. Abby, Brittany, and Josh were smiling close together. Josh made it his Facebook profile picture. That same warm feeling showed up again in an October 2nd TikTok video. The three of them were in the kitchen laughing while making pumpkin-shaped bread. Over 3 million people watched that simple, happy moment. But when you're in the spotlight, not all attention is kind. Some people made rude comments. The twins didn't ignore it. In March 2024, they clapped back with a TikTok video. A voiceover said, "If you don't like what I do, but watch everything I'm doing, you're still a fan." It was bold. It was perfect. A few days later, on April 1st, they posted another one saying, "The internet is extra loud today. We have always been around." The video showed historic sculptures with two heads. Proof that conjoined twins are not new, just rare. The internet lit up with curiosity when Abby and Brittany Hensel, the famous conjoined twins, posted a playful TikTok. In the short video, a headline flashed for just a moment. "Married and baby on the way." That one sentence was all it took. Within hours, thousands of people flooded the comments. Some were cheering, others were guessing, and many were just thrilled by the idea that the twins, now 34 years old, might be starting a family. The reactions were full of warmth. One person wrote, "Congratulations! Such a blessing to be a mommy." Another said, "Oh, congrats, Mom and Dad and Auntie." There were hundreds of messages like that. Some fans shared support that went even deeper. "Ladies, I'd be truly happy for you if you were to become parents. No matter the cards you are dealt, you can live the life that you choose." It was clear that people weren't just curious, they were rooting for them. This wasn't the first time Abby and Brittany had opened up about motherhood. Back in 2012, during their TLC series, Abby and Brittany had said it plainly. "Yeah, we're going to be moms." She admitted they hadn't figured out how it would work, but the dream was there. Now, more than 10 years later, fans are wondering if that dream is finally becoming real. But here's the thing. The twins haven't confirmed anything. No statement, no announcement, just that one mysterious headline. And to make things more interesting, they've shared before that they only have one uterus. That fact alone has sparked even more questions about how a pregnancy would work. People are fascinated not just because of the possibility of a baby, but because of the challenges and medical science behind it. Abby and Brittany's health has always required extra care. Because they share some organs, but have others separately, doctors have to be extremely precise. They go through more checkups than most people. A team of specialists keeps track of both their shared systems and their individual ones. On April 7, 2014, doctors discovered something unusual. Abby's spine was growing faster than Brittany's. That could have caused serious imbalance. So, they performed a delicate surgery to stop Abby's spinal growth. It worked, and it helped keep their bodies aligned. They also have two hearts, even though they share one circulatory system. That means their blood flow and pressure must be watched carefully. Every 3 months they go in for echocardiograms and stress tests to make sure everything is functioning properly. In October 2018, Brittany began experiencing chest pains. After a full round of testing, doctors were relieved to find nothing serious. Their lungs are another area that needs close attention. Abby has 2 lungs while Brittany only has 1. Because of that, they do pulmonary function tests twice a year. During the height of the COVID-19 pandemic in 2020, they went into strict quarantine. They stayed home, avoided contact with outsiders, and took extra steps to keep everything around them clean and safe. All of this shows how closely their lives are monitored and how carefully they have to plan everything. A pregnancy, if it's real, wouldn't just be personal news. It would be a medical milestone, a moment where everything they've dreamed about and worked through could come together in a new way. Most people think they know what life is like for conjoined twins. But when it comes to Abby and Brittany Hensel, most of what people assume is wrong. From the outside, they've always stood out. 2 heads, 1 body. How could they not? But what really makes them different isn't how they look. It's how they've lived and how they've refused to let the world limit them. A lot of people believe that conjoined twins think the same thoughts or feel the same emotions, but Abby and Brittany have always made it clear that's not the case. They're 2 completely different people. They just happen to share a body. Back in 2012, when they starred in their own TLC reality show, viewers were stunned. The show revealed how Abby could be talking to someone about maths, while Brittany laughed with a friend about music at the exact same time. If one found something funny, the other didn't always laugh. If one got annoyed, the other might not care. They didn't share a brain. They just shared space. But it wasn't just their thoughts. People questioned their emotions, their personal lives, even their futures. Those were all up for debate, too. Many assumed they could never fall in love, never get married, never have that kind of life. And then on September 3, 2021, Abby married Josh Bowling. A private wedding, a simple ceremony. But it was a huge moment for anyone who'd ever doubted what was possible. Their marriage didn't just show love. It shattered a stereotype. Still, even after that, people had questions. Could they hold down a job? Could they function in a real-world workplace? Could they lead a classroom full of children? Abby and Brittany didn't answer with words. They answered by showing up every single day. They started teaching in 2013. Not just showing up, but showing up as professionals. Students respected them. Parents trusted them. Colleagues admired them. They weren't just doing okay. They were excelling. In May 2019, they were named Educators of the Year. That award wasn't given out of sympathy. It was earned through hard work, passion, and a deep impact on every student they taught. Even now, they continue to prove people wrong. Every day they live publicly. They challenge assumptions. They remind the world that being different doesn't mean being less. Through interviews, appearances, and simply being who they are, Abby and Brittany have helped people see conjoined twins not as a medical mystery, but as human beings, complex, strong, and full of possibility. Their story isn't just about what they've overcome. It's about what they've built. A life that many thought was impossible. A marriage a career, and most of all, a powerful message. You don't have to be separated to stand.